Gaming is about to level up in a big way. Massive sequels, bold new IPs, and long-awaited projects are finally lining up, and the hype couldn't be higher. In this video, we're counting down 50 upcoming games you can't ignore in 2026, the ones set to dominate the year and steal all your free time. Let's get into it. Tomb Raider: Legacy of Atlantis is Crystal Dynamics' daring reimagining of Lara Croft's 1996 debut, arriving in 2026 to celebrate the franchise's 30th anniversary. Powered by Unreal Engine 5, the game revisits Lara's hunt for the Cyan, an artifact of immeasurable power, across exotic locations including Peru's jungles, Greece's ruins, Egypt's deserts, and a myth-shrouded Mediterranean island. While honoring the spirit of the original, it introduces modern gameplay, cinematic visuals, and adjusted difficulty to suit contemporary players, ensuring the iconic puzzles, traps, and death-defying traversal remain intact. The developers promise surprises that expand the lore while keeping the essence of Lara's first adventure alive. And yes, rolling boulders are back, because what's a Tomb Raider game without a giant rock reminding you that cardio matters? With its blend of nostalgia and innovation, Legacy of Atlantis is poised to rekindle the magic of Lara's origins while setting the stage for the future of the series.
But it lit a fire that still burns. I need to see more. I need to go further. To uncover the secrets of Atlantis. Some legends are destined to be retold.
The Mound: Omen of Cthulhu is Lovecraft turned into full-blown co-op chaos. Developed by Ace Team and published by Nacon, it's dropping in summer 2026 on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S. The setup is pure survival horror. You and up to 3 friends form a squad of explorers diving into a cursed jungle where reality itself twists under the influence of monstrous beings tied to the mythos. It's first person, dripping with atmosphere, and every step feels like the jungle is trying to eat you alive. You're scavenging for treasure, dodging horrors that warp perception, and trying to keep your sanity intact while the environment itself mutates around you. The vibe is tense, unpredictable, and cinematic, with Ace Team promising that teamwork and clear-headedness are the only way to survive. Honestly, it looks like one of those games where you'll be muttering, "Bro, I swear that tree just moved," while still grinning because the mix of co-op fun and cosmic dread is just too good to pass up. Solasta 2 is Tactical Adventure's ambitious sequel to Crown of the Magister, launching in early access on March 12, 2026, and it thrusts players into the mana-soaked world of Neokos, where a dark force led by Shadwin threatens to unravel fragile alliances and plunge the land into chaos. Built on the SRD5E rule set, the game continues the studio's dedication to tactical, turn-based combat, dice-driven outcomes, and party-based storytelling, while expanding with a vast world map, deeper faction systems, and cinematic presentation. Players will recruit adventurers, navigate moral choices, and uncover secrets across perilous realms, with every roll of the dice shaping destiny. The narrative promises a blend of political intrigue and mythic danger, rewarding exploration and strategy. And yes, dice may decide your fate, but at least they don't judge you for rolling a natural one at the worst possible time. With comparisons already being drawn to Baldur's Gate 3, Solasta 2 aims to refine its cult classic foundation into a broader, more immersive RPG experience. Saros' Housemarque's bold new sci-fi action epic, arriving April 30th, 2026 exclusively on PlayStation 5 and PS5 Pro, and it casts players as Arjun Devraj, a Soltari enforcer portrayed by Rahul Kohli, who must uncover the secrets of a lost colony on the shape-shifting world of Carcosa under an ominous eclipse. Built on Unreal Engine 5, the game fuses cinematic storytelling with Housemarque's signature bullet hell chaos, layering roguelite progression where each death strengthens your arsenal and suit for the next run. Persistent upgrades, hostile creatures, and a hauntingly dynamic environment promise both spectacle and challenge, while the narrative explores survival, identity, and the mysteries of Carcosa. And yes, dying repeatedly may sound punishing, but at least in Saros, respawning makes you stronger, unlike real life, where respawning just means explaining to your boss why you're late again. With its mix of emotional storytelling, relentless combat, and technical ambition, Saros is shaping up to be the spiritual successor to Returnal, but with a sharper cinematic edge.
I will make everything perfect again.
Resident Evil Requiem is Capcom's chilling new chapter in survival horror, set to launch on February 27, 2026, during the franchise's 30th anniversary. As the 9th mainline entry, it thrusts players back into the ruins of Raccoon City, where Leon S. Kennedy, older, battle-worn yet still iconic, returns to confront the lingering nightmares of the past. The narrative promises a blend of nostalgia and fresh terror, weaving together new characters like Grace Ashcroft with familiar faces, while exploring themes of legacy, trauma, and survival. Powered by the RE engine, the game delivers photorealistic environments, dynamic combat, and a city that feels alive with dread. Fans can expect a balance of exploration, puzzle solving, and intense encounters with both human and bioweapon threats. And yes, Leon may be fighting zombies again, but at least he doesn't have to deal with the horror of expired Raccoon City parking tickets. With its mix of returning heroes, new mysteries, and cinematic ambition, Resident Evil Requiem is shaping up to be one of 2026's most anticipated horror experiences.
Victor Gideon.
Grace! Grace!
Victor purchased a building after Umbrella went under. I'll send you the address.
Welcome. Dr. Gideon has been expecting you.
You there, Leon?
Yeah.
Hey, over here.
FBI. What are you doing here?
Would you like to see what's hidden under the hood?
Don't do anything stupid.
Me? Never. I think I want a second opinion.
Reanimal is Tarsier Studios' chilling new survival horror, arriving February 13th, 2026, and it thrusts players into a nightmarish island where a brother and sister must fight through hell to rescue their missing friends. Built on Unreal Engine 5, the game blends stealth, cinematic platforming, and environmental puzzles with the eerie atmosphere that made Little Nightmares iconic. The narrative unfolds across fragmented paths, forcing players to explore both land and sea while confronting grotesque monsters and unraveling the dark secret haunting their home. Designed for both single-player and co-op, it emphasizes teamwork, tension, and hope amidst despair. And yes, surviving monsters is terrifying, but at least you don't have to explain to your parents why you're late because a demon ate your homework. With its haunting visuals, layered storytelling, and emotional stakes, Reanimal is shaping up to be one of 2026's most unsettling yet captivating horror adventures.
Good night, and good luck to you all.
Marvel's Wolverine is Insomniac Games' highly anticipated leap into the darker side of Marvel's universe, arriving fall 2026 as a PlayStation 5 exclusive. Built by the same team behind Marvel's Spider-Man, the game tells a self-contained story where Logan confronts the ghosts of his past while carving through enemies with his iconic adamantium claws. The narrative is designed to be mature, gritty, and emotionally charged, with writers from Spec Ops: The Line ensuring depth and moral complexity. Gameplay showcases visceral melee combat, environmental destruction, and cinematic sequences that highlight Wolverine's feral nature. Unlike Spider-Man's acrobatics, Wolverine's world is slower, bloodier, and more personal, emphasizing raw brutality and survival. And yes, Logan's claws are sharp enough to slice through steel, but don't worry, he still struggles to open childproof medicine bottles. With Insomniac's pedigree and Sony's backing, Marvel's Wolverine is shaping up to be one of the most ambitious superhero games ever, expanding the studio's Marvel universe while giving fans the definitive Wolverine experience.
I'm Wolverine.
John Carpenter's Toxic Commando is basically the love letter to 80s action horror chaos we didn't know we needed. Dropping March 12th, 2026 on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, it's a co-op FPS from Saber Interactive and Focus Entertainment, with Carpenter himself credited as writer and composer. The setup? A megacorp drills into the Earth's core, unleashes the sludge god, and suddenly the world is crawling with sludge-mutated zombies and eldritch nightmares. You're not some elite squad, nah, you're the Toxic Commandos, a ragtag bunch of mercs hired because the real pros were too expensive. Gameplay is all about teaming up with up to 3 buddies, driving across semi-open maps, blasting hordes, and laughing at the absurdity while Carpenter's signature synths crank up the tension. Honestly, it looks like one of those games where you'll be yelling, "Bro, I just drifted through sludge zombies with a machine gun blazing," while grinning ear to ear because it's pure campy carnage wrapped in cinematic flair. Crimson Desert is Pearl Abyss's sweeping open-world action-adventure set to release on March 19th, 2026 for PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and macOS. The game unfolds in the war-torn continent of Pywell, where players step into the boots of Cliff, a mercenary leader of the fallen Greymanes determined to reunite his scattered comrades and reclaim their legacy Crimson Desert. Built on the Black Space engine, it promises cinematic storytelling, visceral combat, and a living world teeming with rival factions, mythical beasts, and shifting alliances. Unlike its MMO cousin Black Desert Online, Crimson Desert is a standalone single-player epic, blending medieval fantasy with gritty survival. The narrative emphasizes loyalty, betrayal, and destiny, while gameplay showcases dynamic battles, exploration, and even the ability to ride bears, dragons, and mechs PC gamer. And yes, when you're charging into battle on a bear, you'll finally understand why knights never skipped leg day. With its ambitious scope, Crimson Desert aims to redefine fantasy RPGs by merging spectacle with emotional depth.
Remember who you are, and let it guide your path. For at the end of it,
Control Resonant is Remedy Entertainment's bold sequel to their 2019 hit, shifting the spotlight from Jessie Faden to her troubled younger brother Dylan, 7 years after the events of the first game. Set in a paranormally warped Manhattan rather than the oldest house, the story unfolds as the Hiss escapes containment, twisting skyscrapers and streets into surreal battlegrounds. Dylan, armed with new abilities and a shape-shifting melee weapon called the Aberrant, must confront cosmic threats while searching for his sister, who may have gone rogue. Unlike its predecessor's shooter focus, Resonant leans into action RPG systems, offering open-ended exploration, moral choices, and deeper progression. Remedy promises a cinematic expansion of its connected universe, co-produced with Annapurna Pictures, aiming for release in 2026 across PC, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Mac. And yes, Manhattan may be collapsing under supernatural forces, but at least the rent finally matches the vibe. 007 First Light is IO Interactive's bold reimagining of James Bond's origin, casting players as a young, rebellious Royal Navy airman recruited into MY6, where the journey to earn his license to kill unfolds across globe-trotting missions, cinematic espionage, and gadget-fueled chaos. Built on the Glacier engine, the game promises breathtaking stealth and explosive action, weaving a standalone story inspired by Ian Fleming's novels while embracing modern blockbuster flair. Scheduled for release on May 27, 2026 across PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch 2, and PC, it's touted as IO's most ambitious project yet, blending spycraft, car chases, and moral dilemmas into a seamless narrative. Midway through development, the studio delayed launch by 2 months to polish the experience, because even Bond needs time to iron his tux. And let's be honest, if you fail a mission, don't worry, Bond always has a license to respawn.
Tell me, what do you do, James?
Lately, headhunting.
Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly Remake is the highly anticipated revival of Koei Tecmo's cult classic survival horror developed by Team Ninja and set to release globally on March 12, 2026 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch 2, and PC via Steam. The remake reimagines the chilling tale of twin sisters Mio and Mayu Amakura, who stumble upon the cursed all-gods village, haunted by restless spirits and bound by a sinister ritual. Players once again wield the iconic Camera Obscura, a mystical device that exorcises ghosts by capturing their souls, now enhanced with modern mechanics, improved responsiveness, and expanded combat depth. Built in Unreal Engine 5, the game features richly atmospheric visuals, dynamic lighting, and immersive sound design that heighten its psychological dread. Alongside graphical upgrades, it introduces quality-of-life improvements, accessibility options, and new narrative layers to deepen the emotional resonance of the sisters' journey. With pre-orders live and bonus content teased, Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly Remake promises to honor its legacy while delivering a terrifying cinematic experience for both longtime fans and newcomers. Directive 8020 is the highly anticipated next entry in the Dark Pictures anthology by Supermassive Games, serving as the first chapter of Season 2 and marking the series' bold shift into sci-fi horror. Scheduled for release in the first quarter of 2026 across PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, the game transports players aboard a deep space colony ship where a mission to establish humanity's future spirals into paranoia, betrayal, and survival against an unseen cosmic threat. Unlike the anthology's earlier Earthbound tales, Directive 8020 blends cinematic storytelling, branching choices, and tense exploration with a chilling interstellar setting, promising both intimate character drama and large-scale existential dread. As with previous entries, player decisions will shape who lives and dies, but the futuristic backdrop introduces new mechanics tied to space travel and isolation. With Supermassive's reputation for immersive narrative horror, Directive 8020 aims to deliver the most ambitious and technically advanced installment yet, fusing psychological terror with the vast unknown of outer space.
It can manipulate its physical appearance. It's changing its cellular structure. It's replicating the human form. It's replacing us.
I know this will be difficult to hear, but if you're still out there, you deserve the truth.
Cthulhu. The Cosmic Abyss is an upcoming first-person psychological thriller from Big Bad Wolf Studio, published by Nacon, set to launch on April 16, 2026 for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. Inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's mythos, the game thrusts players into the year 2053, where dwindling Earth resources drive corporations to exploit the uncharted ocean depths, inadvertently awakening ancient horrors. The narrative blends corporate greed, occult mysteries, and cosmic dread, immersing players in a world where incomprehensible events multiply and humanity teeters on the brink of madness. With a focus on atmosphere, exploration, and psychological tension, players will confront both external monstrosities and inner turmoil, unraveling the abyssal secrets hidden beneath the waves. Developed by the team behind Vampire the Masquerade, Swan Song, the game promises cinematic storytelling, immersive environments, and a chilling descent into Lovecraftian terror. GTA 6 is Rockstar Games' long-awaited sequel, set to release on November 19, 2026, and it transports players to the fictional state of Leonida, inspired by Florida, with Vice City as its neon-soaked centerpiece. The story follows criminal duo Jason Duval and Lucia Caminos, weaving a tale of romance, betrayal, and survival in a sprawling open world that promises unprecedented detail, dynamic weather, and evolving ecosystems. Built on the Rage engine, the game expands Rockstar's cinematic storytelling with deeper AI systems, more interactive environments, and a narrative that balances chaos with intimacy. Players can expect heists, car chases, and a living city that reacts to their choices, making every decision ripple across Leonida's underworld. And yes, crime may pay in Vice City, but don't expect your in-game rent to be any cheaper than Miami's. With years of anticipation and leaks behind it, GTA 6 is shaping up to be the most ambitious entry in the franchise, redefining open-world immersion for a new generation.
Say Vice City, baby!
Vice City, baby!
Valor Mortis is one more level's grim new Souls-like adventure arriving in 2026, and it thrusts players into an alternate 19th century Eastern Europe, where Napoleon's war has torn reality apart and unleashed a plague that twists soldiers into undead horrors. You play as William, a resurrected British soldier bound to Napoleon's Grande Armée, forced to wield a cutlass and supernatural powers against both monstrous foes and the conspiracies behind his own resurrection. Built on the studio's pedigree from Ghost Runner, the game promises fast-paced first-person combat, brutal difficulty, and atmospheric storytelling across battlefields warped by history and nightmare. Elemental abilities like fire and lightning add flair to swordplay, while the narrative explores loyalty, corruption, and survival in a world where death is never final. And yes, being resurrected by Napoleon sounds epic, until you realize he probably won't let you take a sick day. With its blend of alternate history, dark fantasy, and punishing gameplay, Valor Mortis is shaping up to be one of 2026's most distinctive action RPGs. The Directorate Novitiate is an upcoming urban fantasy action RPG developed by Nesting Games, blending gritty crime drama with supernatural powers in a narrative-driven third-person experience. Set in a surreal version of Los Angeles in 2006, the story follows Mercury, a powerful magical gangster, and Kana Luna, a young woman torn between her everyday life and the hidden criminal empire of the Directorate. Players will navigate a city where occult forces collide with organized crime, tracking a serial killer while choosing sides in a brewing supernatural war. The game emphasizes cinematic storytelling, stylish combat, and RPG progression, allowing players to wield magic alongside traditional gangster weaponry in a world that feels both familiar and otherworldly. Its tone is described as magical gangster noir, merging urban fantasy with crime thriller sensibilities, while its episodic structure promises layered character arcs and branching choices. With trailers showcasing Mercury's battles against supernatural threats and Kana's struggle between two worlds, the Directorate Novitiate positions itself as a bold new entry in the action RPG genre. Scheduled for early access release in 2026, the Directorate Novitiate will launch on PC via Steam.
Welcome back to the final shore.
Star Citizen, Squadron 42 is Cloud Imperium Games' ambitious single-player campaign finally nearing completion after years of anticipation, with a 2026 release window confirmed. Built as a standalone experience within the Star Citizen universe, it promises over 40 hours of narrative-driven gameplay, blending cinematic storytelling with space combat, exploration, and branching missions. Players step into the role of a rookie pilot thrust into humanity's war against the Van Duel, guided by a star-studded cast including Mark Hamill, Gillian Anderson, and Gary Oldman. The campaign emphasizes immersion, with richly detailed ships, dynamic dogfights, and dialogue choices that shape relationships and outcomes. Cloud Imperium has focused on polish rather than flashy marketing, ensuring Squadron 42 delivers a refined cinematic journey. And yes, it's been in development for so long that some fans joke the Van Duel might invade Earth before the game actually ships. With its mix of Hollywood talent, technical ambition, and narrative depth, Squadron 42 is poised to be both a milestone in space sims and a redemption arc for one of gaming's most infamous development sagas. Spine is an upcoming cinematic cyberpunk action game developed and published by Neki, designed to immerse players in a high-octane narrative experience that fuses free-flowing gun-fu combat with stylish storytelling. Originally conceived as a multiplayer project, the game shifted direction into a single-player cinematic adventure, drawing heavy inspiration from blockbuster action films like John Wick. Players take on the role of Redline, a protagonist navigating a dystopian cityscape where every encounter is choreographed into seamless sequences of parries, disarms, and weapon reversals, creating a fluid rhythm of combat that emphasizes both precision and spectacle. The game's hardcore mode promises ultra-difficult challenges for those seeking mastery, while its cinematic presentation highlights dynamic camera work and reactive environments that blur the line between gameplay and film. With over 400,000 wishlists across platforms, Spine has already captured significant attention, positioning itself as one of the most anticipated indie AAA-style projects in the cyberpunk genre. Scheduled for release at a yet unconfirmed date, Spine will launch on PC via Steam, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Nintendo Switch 2. Samson: A Tindleston's story is basically a pressure cooker disguised as a video game. You're stepping into the shoes of Samson McRae, a guy drowning in debt while the city of Tindleston itself feels like it's actively trying to crush him. Every move you make matters. Mess up and the city pushes back harder. The devs at Liquid Swords, led by Christopher Sundberg, yeah, the dude behind Just Cause and Mad Max, are promising brutal, grounded combat where desperation fuels every punch, kick, and split-second decision. It's not just about fighting, it's about surviving in a noir-inspired nightmare where the clock is always ticking and choices stick with you. The game's dropping on Steam and Epic in early 2026, rocking cinematic storytelling and next-gen visuals that make the grime and neon of Tindleston pop off the screen. Honestly, it looks like one of those titles that'll have us sweating bullets while yelling at the monitor, and I'm kinda here for it.
You can fight the fuck back.
Resonance: A Plague Tale Legacy is Asobo Studios' bold return to its haunting medieval universe set 15 years before Requiem and following Sophia, a fierce young plunderer whose journey takes her to the mysterious Minotaur's Island. Here, she must outwit deadly foes, unravel ancient secrets, and confront a mythical creature tied to a devastating curse. The narrative blends historical grit with mythological spectacle, weaving puzzles, stealth, and combat into a tale of survival and fate. Sophia's path is fraught with peril as armies pursue her while the island itself tests her resolve through labyrinthine trials and cursed relics. Built on Asobo's cinematic storytelling and Focus Entertainment's backing, the game promises a mix of emotional depth and mythic grandeur. And yes, facing a Minotaur sounds terrifying, but at least you don't have to explain to him why you forgot Leg Day. With its 2026 release, Resonance: A Plague Tale Legacy is shaping up to be both a gripping prequel and a fresh expansion of the series' legacy. Onimusha: Way of the Sword is Capcom's long-awaited revival of the legendary samurai series, arriving in 2026 as the first new mainline entry since 2006's Dawn of Dreams. Directed by Satoru Nihei and powered by the RE engine, the game follows Miyamoto Musashi, modeled after actor Toshiro Mifune, through a dark fantasy version of Kyoto during the Edo period, where rival swordsmen, demons, and supernatural horrors collide. Gameplay blends cinematic exploration with hack-and-slash combat, emphasizing Musashi's mastery of the blade and mystical powers as he confronts both human and demonic foes. The narrative promises a mix of historical authenticity and mythic spectacle, immersing players in a world of honor, betrayal, and relentless battles. And yes, Musashi may be the greatest swordsman in history, but even he probably wishes demons came with an off switch. With Capcom's modern technology and storytelling ambition, Way of the Sword is poised to reforge Onimusha's legacy for a new generation.
I don't have time for these stupid games!
Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
Neo Berlin 2087 is one of those games that feels like cyberpunk noir turned into a playable movie. Developed by Elysium Game Studio, it's a third and first-person action RPG set in a dystopian Berlin where neon lights hide corruption, betrayal, and a conspiracy that could tear the city apart. You play as Nolan, a detective with a troubled past, tasked with protecting Natalie, the daughter of the murdered police chief, while unraveling the mystery behind her father's death. The vibe is pure cinematic thriller, stealth, shooting, and investigation, all wrapped in Unreal Engine 5 visuals that make the city feel alive and oppressive at the same time. The devs are promising emotional storytelling about justice, guilt, and sacrifice, with gameplay that shifts seamlessly between detective work and brutal combat. Honestly, it looks like one of those games where you'll be muttering, "Bro, I feel like I'm inside Blade Runner," while still grinning because the mix of RPG depth and cyberpunk atmosphere is just too good to pass up.
You think you're solving the case. This is so much bigger. What if the case is you?
The world only works with order. Without order, chaos breaks out. It's out of balance and we must restore it. You understand that, Nolan?
Yes.
Mortal Shell 2 is coming in 2026, and honestly, it looks like the sequel Souls-like fans have been waiting for. Developed again by Cold Symmetry and published by PlayStack, it's taking everything brutal and atmospheric from the first game and cranking it up. This time you step into the role of the Harbinger, tasked with reclaiming the stolen ova of Undermeether from grotesque, nightmarish creatures, and the vibe is pure dark fantasy horror. The reveal trailer already showed off massive bosses, twisted environments, and a heavy metal soundtrack that perfectly matches the gory combat. Expect the same unforgiving gameplay loop, precise dodges, punishing parries, and that tense feeling of one wrong move and you're done, but layered with deeper lore and more varied shells to inhabit. Honestly, it looks like one of those games where you'll be muttering, "Bro, I hate this boss, but I love this game," while still diving back in because the mix of despair, challenge, and atmosphere is just too addictive to resist. Liminal Point is a psychological survival horror game from Hideworks that pays homage to genre classics while delivering a modern, spine-chilling experience set on the fog-drenched island of Ashen Point. Players step into the role of Lyra, a once-rising rock star whose career collapsed after tragedy struck her band, only to be drawn back years later by a cryptic voicemail that forces her to confront the past. As she searches for her missing bandmate Mira, Lyra must navigate abandoned homes, desolate streets, and eerie forests, unraveling the sinister secrets buried within the island's history. The game blends isometric exploration with tense combat against grotesque creatures, while its narrative emphasizes psychological dread, memory, and the blurred line between reality and nightmare. Environmental storytelling plays a central role, with Ashen Point itself acting as a character, its fog, ruins, and horrors reflecting the trauma of the night that changed everything. With its haunting trailer showcasing twisted monsters and atmospheric design, Liminal Point positions itself as a standout indie horror project that merges nostalgia with innovation. Scheduled for late 2026, Liminal Point will release on PC via Steam, Epic Games Store, and GOG, as well as PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. Ikuma. The Frozen Compass is an emotional, coming-of-age co-op adventure from Moon Eye Studios, the creators of Lost Ember, set in 1864 on a mysterious, uncharted Arctic island where cabin boy Sam and his loyal husky Ellie are stranded after a disastrous voyage. The narrative unfolds as a survival journey through frozen wilderness and bleak mysteries, where players must forage for food, endure harsh weather, and uncover secrets that challenge both body and spirit. Ikuma emphasizes the bond between Sam and Ellie, allowing players to freely switch between the two protagonists in solo play or share the adventure cooperatively, with each character offering unique perspectives and abilities that shape exploration and puzzle solving. The game blends open-world traversal with narrative-driven encounters, weaving themes of friendship, resilience, and self-discovery into a cinematic experience that balances harsh survival mechanics with heartfelt storytelling. Its visual design captures the haunting beauty of Arctic landscapes, while its mechanics highlight the importance of cooperation and emotional connection in overcoming adversity. With its reveal trailer showcased at the III Initiative, Ikuma positions itself as a distinctive indie project that merges folklore-inspired atmosphere with modern co-op design. Scheduled for release in 2026, Ikuma will launch on PC via Steam and Epic Games Store, as well as PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. Hello Sunshine is one of those upcoming survival mystery games that makes you go, bro, this is Fallout meets the Iron Giant, and I'm kinda here for it. Developed by Red Thread Games, yeah, the team behind The Longest Journey and Dreamfall, it drops you into the sun-scorched ruins of a collapsed corporate empire where machines just refuse to shut down. You play as the last employee of that empire, wandering through deserts by day in the shadow of a towering war robot, scavenging supplies, dodging drones, and piecing together what went wrong. When night hits, the wasteland freezes, so you huddle close to your mechanical guardian, crafting gear, cooking, and repairing it to survive another day. It's got that eerie mix of survival mechanics, mystery storytelling, and cinematic flair, with co-op options if you want to suffer with a friend. Honestly, it looks like one of those games where you'll be muttering, "Bro, I'm freezing and terrified, but I can't stop playing," while still pushing forward because the vibe is too unique to quit. Hela is an enchanting 3D co-op adventure inspired by Scandinavian folklore, developed by Wind Up Games and published by Knight's Peak, that invites players to step into the tiny paws of a courageous mouse who becomes the familiar of a kind witch in need. The story unfolds in a vibrant, mystical world where acts of kindness and courage shape the environment, weaving together themes of friendship, healing, and the quiet strength found in small deeds. Players explore breathtaking landscapes, from serene forests to magical villages, solving puzzles that require wit, teamwork, and environmental interaction, while relying on a trusty frog-shaped backpack to glide, climb, and swing through the terrain. The game emphasizes choice, allowing adventurers to follow the main narrative or wander freely, gathering ingredients to brew potions that restore the witch's strength and aid the villagers. Its design blends heartfelt storytelling with whimsical mechanics, offering both solo play and shared experiences through local split-screen or online co-op, ensuring that every journey feels personal yet communal. With its blend of folklore, puzzle-solving, and cooperative exploration, Hela positions itself as a heartwarming yet ambitious indie project that celebrates the beauty of small acts making a big difference. Scheduled for release in 2026, Hela will launch on PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Nintendo Switch 2. Halo. Campaign Evolved is Halo Studios' ambitious full remake of the legendary Halo Combat Evolved, rebuilt from the ground up in Unreal Engine 5 and set to release in 2026 across Xbox Series X and S, Windows, and, shockingly, PlayStation 5, marking the franchise's first appearance outside Xbox. This reimagined campaign preserves the iconic battles of Master Chief against the Covenant and Flood while expanding with new story content, remastered 4K visuals, and refined mechanics shaped by 25 years of community feedback. Vehicles, weapons, and environments are redesigned for modern cinematic flair, while multiplayer modes are teased alongside the single-player epic. The narrative aims to honor Bungie's original while deepening lore connections across the Halo universe. And yes, the Flood are back, because nothing says welcome home like space zombies who never RSVP. With Day 1 Game Pass support and cross-platform play, Halo. Campaign Evolved is positioned as both a nostalgic return and a bold new chapter in sci-fi shooters.
A real fight. The cartographer must be here.
Halloween. The game is finally giving slasher fans what they've been begging for, a chance to step right into Haddonfield and either run for your life or become the boogeyman himself. Developed by IllFonic in partnership with Gun Interactive, Compass International Pictures, and Further Front, it's dropping in 2026 on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. The setup is asymmetric stealth horror, so you can play as survivors trying to outwit Michael Myers or flip the script and stalk them as the masked killer. It's dripping with John Carpenter vibes, from the eerie atmosphere to that iconic soundtrack, and the devs are promising both single-player and multiplayer modes, so you can either immerse yourself solo or scream with friends. Honestly, it looks like one of those games where you'll be muttering, "Bro, I'm not opening that door," while still inching forward because the tension is just too good. And if you've ever wanted to swing that oversized kitchen knife at unsuspecting teens, well, this is your shot.
He returned home. But what happened that night was only the beginning. It wasn't just a killing spree, it was a reckoning.
Whoa, calm down.
He was going to me. Come on, we have to go.
No.
You can't stop him. You can't reason with him. You can't kill the boogeyman.
Gothic 1 Remake is basically the return of a cult classic RPG that defined the early 2000s, rebuilt from the ground up in Unreal Engine 5 by Alchemia Interactive and published by THQ Nordic. Launching in early 2026 on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S, it throws you back into the Valley of Mines, a brutal prison colony where survival means picking sides, earning respect, and clawing your way up from nothing. The devs are promising a faithful recreation of the original's gritty vibe, but with modern combat, cinematic storytelling, and a dynamic open world that reacts to your choices. You'll still be that nameless hero, but now every fight, every faction alliance, and every decision looks and feels way more visceral thanks to next-gen visuals and updated mechanics. Honestly, it's shaping up to be one of those games where you'll be muttering, "Bro, I can't believe they actually pulled this off," while grinning ear to ear, because Gothic's legendary atmosphere is finally getting the remake treatment fans have been begging for.
You might dismiss their culture as primitive, but it would be prudent to study them carefully. Maybe the key to all of this lies buried deep under their sanctuaries. I cannot unravel these mysteries all alone. I need allies. Allies who look out for more than their own survival. Allies who accomplish things you might have considered impossible. Allies I will meet soon enough.
Final Sentence is a horror-driven typing battle royale from Polden and Button Mash, a bold experiment that transforms the simple act of typing into a life-or-death struggle for survival. Set in a digital nightmare where every keystroke carries weight, players must face off against up to 100 rivals in a tense arena where accuracy and speed are their only weapons. The game's design blends the suspense of survival horror with the competitive chaos of battle royale, creating a unique experience where mistyped words can summon terrifying consequences and hesitation can mean elimination. Its atmosphere is heightened by eerie soundscapes and unsettling visuals that amplify the pressure of typing under duress, while tactical mechanics ensure that every sentence typed becomes a strategic maneuver in combat. Beyond its horror elements, Final Sentence positions itself as a revolutionary esports concept, merging the accessibility of typing with the adrenaline of competitive gaming, offering tournaments, community events, and a growing global player base. With its cinematic trailer showcasing the tension of typing battles and its promise of redefining what competitive typing can be, Final Sentence stands out as one of the most innovative indie projects of 2025. Scheduled for release in 2026, the game will launch on PC via Steam. Fatekeeper is THQ Nordic's upcoming first-person sword and sorcery RPG, a handcrafted fantasy adventure where ruins whisper of past cataclysms and players wield both steel and sorcery to shape their destiny. Set in a world of crumbling sanctuaries, vast caverns, and forgotten battlegrounds, the game emphasizes exploration, lore, and choices that define who you become. Combat blends melee and magic with foes that demand tactical mastery, while physics-driven encounters recall the chaotic fun of Dark Messiah of Might and Magic. Yes, you can shove enemies off cliffs, proving gravity is the most reliable spell in your arsenal. The narrative promises a focused yet expansive journey, rewarding curiosity with relics and secrets hidden across Pywell's landscapes. With its gritty tone, dynamic battles, and spell-slinging druid protagonist, Fatekeeper aims to deliver a grounded but exhilarating fantasy experience that balances cinematic storytelling with player agency. Vehicular is a retro-futuristic Western RPG from Paradox Studio that fuses the desolate grit of Red Dead Redemption with the dystopian decay of Fallout, immersing players in a scorched earth where humanity struggles to survive after a catastrophic event has left the planet barren and hostile. At its core lies the story of Denzel Phoenix, a bounty hunter known as an Vehicular, who works for the powerful Helion Corporation housed within the remnants of New York, navigating a morally complex world where every contract and decision shapes his fate. The game unfolds in a first-person perspective, blending shooter mechanics with RPG progression, offering branching storylines, character customization, and choices that ripple across its post-apocalyptic setting. Players will traverse vast wastelands, confront hostile factions, and uncover secrets buried beneath the ruins of civilization, all while balancing survival against loyalty and betrayal. Its aesthetic combines neon-soaked retro-futurism with Western grit, creating a unique atmosphere where technology and decay coexist in uneasy tension. With cinematic presentation and a narrative that challenges players to question justice, morality, and corporate control, Vehicular positions itself as one of the most distinctive indie RPGs on the horizon. Scheduled for release in 2026, Vehicular will launch on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S.
I want to make you an offer, which I'm sure you won't refuse.
Dreadout 3 is the highly anticipated continuation of Digital Happiness's cult horror franchise, returning players to a world steeped in Indonesian folklore and urban legends. This third-person horror adventure once again follows Linda, the series' iconic protagonist, now fully embracing her role as Keeper of the Dark, as she is drawn into an interdimensional rabbit hole, where unseen powers threaten the fragile balance between light and darkness. The game promises a non-linear survival horror experience, blending exploration of haunted environments with spiritual realm puzzles and camera-driven mechanics that allow players to commune with the dead. Expanding on the eerie atmosphere of its predecessors, Dreadout 3 introduces new layers of narrative depth, more complex supernatural encounters, and a broader scope of environments inspired by Asian myths. Co-published by SoftSource, the title is positioned as a full-scale sequel rather than a side story, aiming to deliver both terrifying gameplay and cultural authenticity. With its mix of folklore, psychological tension, and modern horror design, Dreadout 3 seeks to cement its place as one of the most distinctive entries in the genre. Scheduled for release in 2026, Dreadout 3 will launch on PC via Steam. Dreadmore is a haunting, post-apocalyptic fishing adventure from DreamDock Studio, blending survival mechanics with Lovecraftian horror in a world where the seas have swallowed civilization and only scattered survivors remain. Players take command of a battered trawler, navigating submerged ruins and eerie archipelagos while balancing fishing, crafting, and exploration against the lurking presence of monstrous entities that rise from the depths. The game's atmosphere is steeped in dread, with its environments designed to evoke both the beauty and terror of a drowned world, where every catch could be sustenance or a harbinger of something far darker. Inventory management and trading with survivors add layers of strategy, while combat against seaborne horrors injects tension into the otherwise meditative rhythm of fishing. Dreadmore's narrative explores themes of survival, decay, and humanity's fragile relationship with nature, positioning itself as more than a fishing sim. It is a psychological journey through despair and resilience. With over 40,000 Steam wishlists already and a partnership with Digital Vortex Entertainment, the game has quickly become one of the most anticipated indie titles in its genre. Dreadmore is set to release in Q4 2026 on PC via Steam. Dark Mass is the newly announced underwater psychological horror from Path Games, the studio behind Insomnius, and it plunges players into a chilling descent beneath the waves where reality and nightmare blur inside a sunken manor that defies explanation. The story follows Alice, a deep-sea explorer, and her brother Reed, who set out to investigate the wreckage of an ancient ship, only to discover a fully preserved manor inexplicably resting on the seabed, its halls untouched despite centuries of submersion. As Alice ventures deeper into its decrepit corridors, she realizes she is not alone. Something watches from the shadows, and the manor itself seems alive with secrets tied to dark rituals and a haunted past. Gameplay emphasizes first-person exploration, puzzle solving, and survival mechanics, with ritualistic puzzles that unravel the manor's mysteries while amplifying psychological tension. The atmosphere is crafted through oppressive underwater isolation, eerie soundscapes, and cinematic visuals that heighten the sense of dread, positioning Dark Mass as a unique blend of maritime mystery and supernatural horror. With its announcement trailer showcasing haunting imagery and immersive environments, the game promises to deliver a fresh take on underwater horror by combining cultural mythos with modern psychological storytelling. Dark Mass is set to release in 2025 on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S.
I think we've unleashed the curse.
Krathos Deep is an ambitious sci-fi survival horror adventure from indie studio Volcano Dark, plunging players into the subterranean alien underworld of Krathos 4, a newly discovered planet whose vast caverns pulse with bioluminescent ecosystems and ominous silence. The story follows Dr. Alara Venn, a xenobiologist tasked with exploring this immense underground biosphere, initially driven by scientific curiosity but soon forced into a desperate struggle for survival as she uncovers a dormant alien species awakening beneath the surface. The game blends atmospheric exploration with tense resource management, environmental storytelling, and encounters that escalate from eerie discoveries to full-scale confrontations with hostile life forms. Its environments are richly detailed, ranging from shimmering crystal chambers to labyrinthine tunnels carved by ancient alien architecture, all designed to immerse players in a sense of awe and dread. Krathos Deep emphasizes psychological tension as much as physical danger, with its narrative exploring themes of human fragility, scientific ambition, and the consequences of awakening forces beyond comprehension. With its cinematic trailer showcasing subterranean landscapes and creeping dread, the game positions itself as a standout indie horror experience that merges survival mechanics with narrative depth. Krathos Deep is scheduled for release in 2026 on PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Nintendo Switch. Carmageddon Rogue Shift is back, baby, and it's looking absolutely insane. So here's the deal. The legendary car combat series is being reinvented by 34 Big Things, the folks behind Redout, and it's dropping in 2026 with a roguelite twist. Instead of just mowing down pedestrians for points like the old days, now you're tearing through a post-apocalyptic wasteland in 2050, smashing zombie hordes called the Wasted, upgrading your ride, and adapting to randomized chaos every run. The devs are promising silky arcade handling mixed with brutal vehicular mayhem, so expect to crumple opponents, paint the streets red, and laugh maniacally while your car becomes a literal killing machine. It's single-player focused but dripping with replayability thanks to roguelite mechanics, meaning no two nights of carnage will play out the same. Honestly, it looks like one of those games where you'll be yelling, "Bro, did I just drift through a pack of zombies?" while grinning ear to ear because Carmageddon is back to remind us that destruction can be pure entertainment. Broken Lore Follow is the latest unsettling entry in the Broken Lore psychological horror universe, a series that has steadily carved out a reputation for exploring the fragile boundaries between identity, technology, and fear. This chapter builds upon the eerie foundations of its predecessors, immersing players in a surreal first-person journey where the digital self collides with the horrors of reality and every choice feels like a reflection of the player's own anxieties. The narrative centers on themes of obsession, body dysmorphia, and the sinister influence of social media, weaving a story that forces players to confront the consequences of online validation and the dangers of losing oneself in the pursuit of digital acceptance. Gameplay emphasizes exploration through claustrophobic environments, puzzle solving that mirrors psychological fragmentation, and encounters with distorted entities that embody the darkest corners of the human psyche. Broken Lore Follow distinguishes itself with cinematic presentation, a haunting soundscape, and narrative depth that ties directly into the broader Broken Lore mythos, connecting threads from earlier titles like Ghost Frequency and Unfollow while carving its own identity. With its chilling atmosphere and focus on the intersection of technology and mental health, it promises to be a standout indie horror experience. Broken Lore Follow is slated for release sometimes in 2026, arriving on PC via Steam and PlayStation 5.
What?
Blackwood is one of those games that instantly makes you go, all right, this is basically John Wick if he owned a DVD store. Set in 2012 New York, it's a cinematic third-person action thriller from Atredo M7 Productions, dropping in Q3 2026 on PC. You play as Anton Blackwood, a guy living a double life. By day, he's running a quiet little DVD shop in Brooklyn, but by night, he's a ruthless assassin caught up in a brutal underworld. The gameplay mixes grounded melee combat, slick gunplay, and savage takedowns, all wrapped in a photorealistic Unreal Engine 5 package that screams high production value. What's cool is the duality. You're balancing Anton's softer side, seen by the people close to him, with the violent reality he can't escape. Honestly, it looks like one of those games where you'll be muttering, "Bro, this fight choreography is insane," while still glued to the screen because the story's cinematic flair keeps pulling you deeper.
Today.
Put some ice on it. Good night,
What's the
Anton.
gap in left center? That's rolling all the way to the wall. He's around first. Digging.
Blackwood is one of those games that instantly makes you go, all right, this is basically John Wick if he owned a DVD store. Set in 2012 New York, it's a cinematic third-person action thriller from Atredo M7 Productions, dropping in Q3 2026 on PC. You play as Anton Blackwood, a guy living a double life. By day, he's running a quiet little DVD shop in Brooklyn, but by night, he's a ruthless assassin caught up in a brutal underworld. The gameplay mixes grounded melee combat, slick gunplay, and savage takedowns, all wrapped in a photorealistic Unreal Engine 5 package that screams high production value. What's cool is the duality. You're balancing Anton's softer side, seen by the people close to him, with the violent reality he can't escape. Honestly, it looks like one of those games where you'll be muttering, "Bro, this fight choreography is insane," while still glued to the screen because the story's cinematic flair keeps pulling you deeper.
Today.
Put some ice on it. Good night,
What's the
Anton.
gap in left center? That's rolling all the way to the wall. He's around first. Digging.
Ballad of Antara is one of those games that instantly makes you go, okay, this could be the next big Souls-like obsession. Developed by Tipsworks Studio under Infold Games, it's a free-to-play fantasy action RPG dropping in 2025 on PS5, PC, and mobile. The setup is wild, the world's been wrecked by an ancient force that twisted the land's essences, and you're teaming up with emissaries, basically super-powered beings tied to those essences, while journeying alongside Dromos, a mysterious girl trying to reunite the shattered world. Combat is clearly inspired by Souls-like mechanics, so expect punishing fights, tactical dodges, and that sweet adrenaline rush when you finally take down a boss. But it's not just about grinding through battles. The devs are promising a rich narrative, cinematic flair, and a world that feels alive with lore and danger. Honestly, it looks like one of those games where you'll be yelling at your screen after every brutal fight, then immediately diving back in because the vibe, the mystery, and the sheer spectacle are too good to walk away from.
Dust of forgotten miracles! Rain fire from above! This desolate land needs a sprinkle of madness.
Remember, no matter what happens, we did not betray this world.
Aphelion is the kind of game that makes you stop scrolling and go, all right, this one's different. So here's the rundown. Aphelion is a brand new sci-fi action adventure from Don't Nod, yep, the folks behind Life is Strange and Vampire, revealed at the Xbox Game Showcase 2025 and set to launch in 2026 on Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC. You play as astronaut Ariane, stranded on the frozen planet Persephone, trying to rescue her wounded partner Thomas while unraveling the eerie secrets of this icy wasteland tech radar. What makes it stand out is the mix of cinematic storytelling, stealth, and survival mechanics, plus the fact it's being developed in collaboration with the European Space Agency, so expect a layer of realism most sci-fi games don't even attempt. The vibe is emotional, tense, and atmospheric, with next-gen visuals that make Persephone feel both breathtaking and terrifying. Honestly, it looks like one of those games where you'll be muttering, "Bro, I'm freezing just watching this," while still glued to the screen, desperate to see what's lurking under all that ice.
I got this.
Oh, shit.
I'm not alone.
What the hell?
It's stalking me. Crap, no! Oh, no. No. Mission control. Anybody copy? Holy shit. What are you?
Agni Village of Calamity is the chilling debut project from Indonesian indie studio Separu Interactive, a psychological survival horror experience that fuses cinematic storytelling with the eerie atmosphere of Javanese folklore. Players step into the role of Agni, a determined investigator from a covert police unit who defies orders and ventures into the remote village of Desa Purba, ignoring ominous warnings that veil the land in mystery. What begins as an unauthorized investigation quickly spirals into a descent through psychological torment, where every shadow conceals secrets and every encounter tests the limits of courage and sanity. The game emphasizes exploration, puzzle solving, and third-person combat, weaving together detective mechanics with survival horror tension, while its richly detailed environments immerse players in rural Indonesian culture and supernatural dread. With its lore-rich narrative, cinematic presentation, and focus on psychological horror, Agni Village of Calamity promises to deliver a uniquely atmospheric journey that blends cultural authenticity with modern horror design. Scheduled for release in 2026, the game will arrive on PC via Steam and Xbox Series X and S. Axe of Blood is a gritty upcoming beat-em-up from Indonesian indie developer Fajrul FN and his Excel team, set against the backdrop of a dystopian Bandung where corruption and injustice have hollowed out the legal system, leaving ordinary citizens powerless. The story follows Hendra, a young law student whose life is shattered when his family is brutally murdered, only for the perpetrators to escape punishment thanks to the influence of a powerful figure, forcing him to abandon faith in the courts and embrace a path of vengeance. What begins as a personal vendetta evolves into a larger struggle as Hendra uncovers hidden forces manipulating the city, pushing him into battles that blend raw street combat with firearm skirmishes across destructible environments. The game emphasizes visceral melee encounters, cinematic brutality, and a narrative steeped in themes of justice, revenge, and systemic decay, while its visual style channels the atmosphere of urban decay with a distinctly Indonesian identity. With its newly revealed trailer showcasing unfiltered action and immersive environments, Axe of Blood positions itself as both a character-driven revenge tale and a technically ambitious indie project. Scheduled for release in summer 2026, the game will be available on PC via Steam. The Sinking City 2 is an upcoming survival horror game developed and published by Frogwares, set to release in the first half of 2026 for PC, Steam, Epic, GOG, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. Built on Unreal Engine 5, the sequel expands on the Lovecraftian universe of the original, shifting focus toward more intense combat and exploration while retaining its semi-open world design. Set in Arkham during the 1920s, players will face rising floodwaters that dynamically reshape the city, altering routes, accessibility, and encounters as the game progresses. The narrative continues Frogware's tradition of psychological horror, blending investigative storytelling with grotesque monsters inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's mythos. Development has been challenging due to the ongoing war in Ukraine, but Frogwares emphasizes that the delay ensures a polished, uncompromising vision, with its evolving environments, atmospheric dread, and deeper survival mechanics. The Sinking City 2 promises to deliver a harrowing cinematic descent into madness, positioning itself as one of the most ambitious horror titles of 2026. The Occultist is an upcoming first-person psychological horror adventure developed by Dalawar and published by Daedalic Entertainment, set to release in 2026 for PC, Steam, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. The game follows Alan Rebels, a paranormal investigator who travels to the cursed island of Godstone to uncover the truth behind his father's mysterious disappearance. Armed with a mystical pendulum, Alan explores foggy streets, haunted ruins, and cult-infested landscapes, confronting supernatural forces while piecing together the island's sinister past. Built with a strong emphasis on immersion, atmosphere, and narrative-driven exploration, The Occultist blends puzzle-solving, investigative mechanics, and survival elements to heighten tension. Early previews highlight its cinematic presentation, eerie sound design, and branching storylines, promising a chilling descent into occult mysteries. With its mix of psychological dread, occult lore, and investigative gameplay, The Occultist is shaping up to be one of the most intriguing horror releases of the decade, appealing to fans of narrative-heavy, atmospheric horror experiences.
Engraved in my mind are images that would make any man tremble. But I am not just any man. I am the Occultist.
The Butcher's Village is an upcoming first-person psychological horror game developed by Massbolt Games and scheduled for release on PC via Steam in January 2026. The story follows Murtaza, a man living in North America who receives a desperate call from a friend one rainy evening, urging him to come to a specific address. As he drives through the storm, a dense fog leads him into a devastating accident that thrusts him into a surreal nightmare where realism and hallucination collide. The game emphasizes atmosphere, disorientation, and narrative-driven exploration, blending cinematic storytelling with unsettling environments and grotesque imagery. Players must navigate a world that shifts between reality and psychological torment, uncovering mysteries tied to the village's dark past. With its focus on immersion, tension, and emotional dread, The Butcher's Village promises to deliver a haunting experience that challenges perception and sanity, positioning itself as one of 2026's most intriguing indie horror releases. Clive Barker's Hellraiser Revival is an upcoming first-person survival horror game developed by Saber Interactive, set to launch in 2026 on PC via Steam and next-gen consoles. Drawing directly from Barker's iconic mythos, the game thrusts players into the nightmarish labyrinth where Pinhead and the Cenobites reign, blending grotesque imagery with brutal combat. Players step into the role of Aiden, who must wield the mysterious Genesis configuration puzzle box to battle supernatural forces and rescue his girlfriend Sunny from eternal torment. The gameplay promises a fusion of occult powers and earthly weaponry, allowing for both strategic puzzle solving and visceral encounters against twisted enemies. With its cinematic presentation, immersive atmosphere, and faithful expansion of Hellraiser lore, Revival aims to deliver a harrowing descent into pain, desire, and forbidden knowledge, positioning itself as a bold reawakening of Barker's universe for modern horror fans. And that wraps up our list of 50 upcoming games you can't ignore in 2026. Let me know in the comments which game you're most excited for, and if I missed any titles that deserve a spot, drop them below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more gaming content, and I'll see you in the next one.